Samanjaba region. And of course, at this point in time, it's just 6 minutes past 8. Let's get into our business tips and quotes. Well, hope you've been inspired by those quotes. And on Smart Means Business, we believe in inspiration, and that is key. It's a key factor for entrepreneurial success.
Well, of course, yeah, it is good actually to be motivated each and every day that goes by. And of course, as you saw there, it said success is not the source of happiness. Happiness is actually the source of success. I found that very funny, but anyway. Away from that, there is a great writer. He was, I think, a pastor, before he went into writing. And of course, he actually majored and purposed to write about leadership. And that is John Calvin Maxwell. I know for the readers, you've read his books about leadership. And of course, one of his quotes here, he said, "People may hear your words, but feel your attitude."
People may?
Hear your words, but feel your attitude.
Okay.
You know what that means? So you may say the words people may hear, but the attitude you give at the end of the day also
is what matters.
Yeah, are you positive in the words that you say?
Okay.
Or are you negative? There is this point of saying not in every statement you said, may, likely. So you have to be, at least have some attitude that people are willing to see, mostly if you're a leader.
Okay.
You won't be giving a may, likely to happen. Imagine you're a leader and you're not sure. So your attitude also matters at the end of the day. So have a positive attitude as you're addressing your employees, mostly employees actually. If you also yourself, because leadership, you begin from yourself, then you spread it to other people. So also he said, if you're a leader and you're not creating other leaders, you're not creating impact. If you're a leader, you have to be able to...
You have to create other leaders.
Yes, that is how effective, that's how you know that you're being effective as a leader.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, yesterday someone was telling me a quote from my language, and he said that abalinda wakame bazola misho.
What does that? If we're to translate it.
Yeah. It is very funny. If you rabbits, wakame is a rabbit.
Wakame is a rabbit. Okay, yes. Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Imagine I'm disappointed in this human being. You cannot tell me how don't you know? You're supposed to be knowing these things.
Why?
Yeah, that's your language.
No, it's possible.
Culture.
Yeah, culture. I understand, but what shapes your being is as a result of where you've grown up from. You may be culture, but if you are detached from your culture and when in terms of being raised up, so that is my situation.
Okay, fine. This was my mother telling me. We were talking about something yesterday and conversations about life and all that. So she told me about wakame bazona misho. You get, because a rabbit is a very small thing, so you have to keep your eyes wide open.
Wide open.
Yeah, it's a small thing, so anytime it can bypass you. So that means she was, opportunities. That draws back to opportunities.
Opportunities.
So if you're looking for an opportunity, you have to keep your eyes wide open, very wide open. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So consider the opportunity as wakame, like that rabbit. Yeah. So use that opportunity that you have. Keep your eyes open, keep sharp, so that it doesn't slip away. Yeah. So if you've gotten something, please keep it safe. Do whatever is required so that you keep what you have. Because anytime you may be looking and it slips away. Yeah.
So you have to be hungry, get hold of something, and own it at the end of the day if you're to realize impact. Well, now heading back into our discussion, of course, relating to the Conference of Parties, for score 28. For this point in time, we want to take a look at the role of trade in addressing climate change related issues. But before we get in there, just a review back on the previous Conference of Parties 27 last year. Of course, some of the key resolutions that were put out there included establishing a loss and damage fund, which is also part of the COP28. And now, as far as implementing this resolution is concerned, we see Germany, which pledged to provide 170 million pounds in initial funding for the loss and damage fund. Now, of course, recognizing that is the need to support developing countries facing the irreversible impacts on climate change. Now, of course, coming in down here, we see the aspect still part of the COP27 last year, phasing down unabated coal power. Part still related to this, getting rid of carbon emissions, and of course coal being seen as part of the key issue here. And South Africa is a huge victim here, as China or India. Now, South Africa committed to phasing out coal power by 2040, and far as implementing the phasing down unabated coal power resolution was concerned from the COP27. And now this was a significant step away from reliance on fossil fuels, and we see that the Just Transition Partnership is supporting South Africa's transition, that is to a low carbon economy. Same applies to Canada, taking on the phasing down of unabated coal power resolution of the COP27. Canada committed to phasing out coal power by 2035, of course mining to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. I can see quite a number of nations that are giving themselves a time period in terms of getting rid of the carbon emissions, 2035, 2040, but I hope that is really reliable. And now, of course, we had the aspect of scaling up climate finance still in the COP27. France pledged to increase its climate finance for developing countries, that is to about $6 billion by 2025. Yes. And of course, contributing that is to the global effort to reach the $100 billion budget that is a per year target. Now, still, this is in terms of nations taking on an initiative to fund climate change related activities. Of course, respecting in correspondence, that is to the resolution from the COP27, which is to scale up climate finance. France pledged to give $6 billion per year by 2025, now next year 2024, so shall need to really do a strict follow-up on that. Now, Japan at the same time, the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, JICA, committed to providing $10 billion in climate change finance, still to developing countries, over the next 5 years. So, there are developing countries taking on this initiative to do that. And now there was also the aspect of promoting clean technologies. And the United States, that is the U.S. The U.S. Department of Energy launched a Clean Energy Incubator Program that is providing funding and support to the development of clean energy technologies. For that, And China made significant investments in renewable energy and electric vehicles, becoming a global leader in these sectors. And of course, in addition, of course, if we are to break it down this further, we see that companies like Siemens Gamesa, we have, I can see Vestas Wind Systems and Long Solar are the leading development and deployment for renewable energy technologies. And of course, when we talk about implementation of the resolutions, of course, in that different country, there is a company that was in charge, that was given the responsibility by the state to implement those resolutions. Now, the electric vehicle manufacturing companies like Tesla, Volkswagen, and the BYD are greatly actually accelerating transition to electric vehicles, reducing emissions from the transportation sector. And now, of course, we also see the sustainable finance institutions and banks, and investment banks like HCDC, BlackRock, and the Alliance are increasingly incorporating sustainability considerations in their investment decisions, promoting green finance. All this in relation to comply with the with the Conference of Parties 27 resolutions that were put across. But then, trade is also another angle that we take a look at. What is the role of trade in terms of addressing climate change related issues? It's quite a big, I believe it's a topic, it's something that a trader out there needs to understand how trade and address this.
Well, of course, trade actually plays a significant role in addressing climate change and, of course, facilitation of the fusing of environmentally friendly technologies. That, of course, as we know, in Africa is solar. Solar, that is also one of the friendly technologies that we could use, other than of course away solar from electricity, away from electricity. And then we also have promoting sustainable production and consumption patterns. We also have to change the way we consume some products, and of course also mobilizing financing resources for climate change. Well, of course, when it comes to environmentally friendly technologies, like I told you earlier, there is also solar. Solar is an example that I could actually give as a way of reducing greenhouse emissions and mitigating climate change. Why? Solar, first of all, it taps from the sun, directly from the sun, so it has whatsoever no impact. No impact on the environment, compared to other sources maybe of energy that we use. Mostly, if at all we are to do away with gas emissions, we could use solar. People can actually use gas. There is electric gases, so solar could also be used to improvise for those that do not have access to electricity. And of course, even companies could use solar. We've seen some companies, manufacturing companies, using solar, alternatively from electricity. So that is one of the things that can help us spread clean energy technologies in Africa or entirely globally. And of course, when it comes to a promotion of sustainable production and consumption patterns, you see here I'm actually providing subsidies for some of these environmentally friendly goods and services, and of course the tariffs. The tariffs are very, very, very key, because of course when for the products to be accessible for the people within the country, because for those when the products are imported, there is that tax. So there has to be subsidies on these environmentally friendly products, so that they subsidies. Subsidies, and of course reducing on the tariffs, and of course when it comes to that, so some of the policies that can be put in place, and of course a combination of tariffs, like I'd said, and subsidies on environmentally friendly goods and services, like the technologies, the different foods that are brought into the country, and of course harmonization of environmental standards and regulations, and of course developing countries, supporting development countries to adopt to clean energy technologies. Well, away from from that, some of the countries that have really actually used these initiatives in Africa to address climate change through trade, we see Kenya, and of course it has been involved in trade and environment initiative, reducing on tariffs on environmentally friendly goods by 50%. So each product that comes in that is environment friendly, 50% off.
50% off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, of course, we also have Ethiopia. There's also the Doha Development Agenda. It has increased investment in clean energy technologies by 20%. Then we also have South Africa. South Africa, carbon pricing, reducing the greenhouse emissions by 10%. And of course, South Africa is also spearheading away from, from the likes that we know of Kenya. They use actually gas. Usually, you use gas in their home states.
Okay.
They encourage people to use gas. I don't think people use coal or charcoal. Okay, considering the fact that I've been having issues with electricity, the different blackouts, and of course some of them were using coal as an alternative because of the different blackouts. But then that is why there is need for alternative sources now, solar. Yeah, if they had actually invested in solar, the technology, at least it would actually be able to facilitate some of the companies that are into manufacturing, because it stopped the progress of the economy.
Okay.
By, of course, electricity being the source of energy in a country, that means definitely it cripples the economy by far. Businesses are not operational. Imagine you're operating on electricity. You need a refrigerator. Things are going to go bad.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So away from that, they reduced their greenhouse emissions by 10%. And then there is also Nigeria. Nigeria coming in. These are one of the big economies that we know, South Africa and Nigeria. And they also went into initiatives of green bonds. Yeah, they issued a $1 billion fund in green bonds to finance renewable energy products. So if you're in Nigeria and you are, big on renewable energy, so people were able to get some funds out of this. So if you have an initiative and it is really approved, you get money for it. Then there's also Egypt with eco-labeling. They developed an eco-labeling scheme for sustainable agricultural products. There are these crops that they want to bring that are resistant to natural calamities, that are drought resistant. Yeah, so that is what they're encouraging people actually to do these days. Actually, I think they discussed it in the COP28.
COP28.
Yeah. Having crops or produce that are resistant to these natural calamities, drought, floods, so that at the end of the day, much as we may be affected, at least we can have produce at the end of the day. Something that we can feed. Because there has to be consistency. If we're talking about trade, we have to be consistent.
Very true, very true.
If you've been supplying matoke, whether it's shining and you're in drought, you have to be able to sustain, to facilitate the people that you've been doing trade with. Exactly.
Now, of course, just to beef up a little bit on what Marcy has been discussing in terms of trade activities, initiatives that are addressing, how they're addressing the climate change initiatives, and of course getting to see that in Kenya when it comes to the importation of any commodities that are environmentally friendly, there is a reduction of 50%. But of course we see there are policies, trade policies that are of course governing this, and some specific examples of trade policies which are being used to address climate change. Of course the European Union's carbon border adjustment mechanism. Now this one aims to impose a carbon tariff that is on imported goods based on the emissions embedded in their production. Yes, so it aims a carbon tariff, of the goods imported, similar to what Kenya is actually doing. Now, Costa Rica and Norway have a free trade agreement that includes provisions that is on environmental protection and sustainable forest management. Still on that. And now the island countries Economic Partnership Agreement, or what we as the IEPA, of course, among 14 Pacific Island nations, this is where it's situated, incorporates change considerations and promotes the use of renewable energy. So that is the Island Countries Economic Partnership, the Costa Rica and Norway Free Trade Agreement, and the European Union's Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. Trade policies that actually addressing the matters to do with climate change. Well, let's take a break for now, and business in sports and entertainment is coming up shortly.
Smart 24, driving business.
Ugandans come to Ginger City every weekend, and December 16th, 2023 is Uganda's end-of-year party as Smart FM hosts the Smart Swag Fest Season 2. Don't miss performances from Uganda's top DJs, MCs and artists like the king herself, Cindy Baby, and her full band, Fig for Maker, UG Boys, Kesmon Switch, King Zamba, Waymaker Official, Voice Nasi, Zach Tom Rizla, Lance Soldier, and many more local artists. Let's meet at the Chairman's Back, next to Ginger Showgrounds. Get your early bird tickets now at 15K and at the gate 20K. Gets open from 10 a.m. till late. The Smart Swag Fest is organized by 89 Smart FM and Hot Shots. Powered by Smart 24 TV, Sisan Suits, NBS Cordeo, GZ Mechatronics, Ginger Hippos, Kampala University, Albeit Electronics and Solar Center, TMU Tubing and Rafting, Banji Uganda, Quad Biking Ginger, Cable Giants, Stardom Visuals and Audio, Bidco, and Club.
Tastefully different. Not for sale to persons under 18.